This video is made possible by Max at Naperville Cadillac. Naperville Cadillac offers no BS pricing, meaning what you see is what you pay. No hidden fees, the way car buying should be. Alright, what's up guys? My name is Zach, and today I am driving a 2022 GMC Hummer EV. Down below me is 3 electric motors as well as a single-speed automatic transmission, and I am super excited to be driving this Hummer EV for tons and tons of reasons, but mainly the fact that this is a cutting-edge EV. This is the forefront of what electric cars are doing right now, and that's always super exciting. But before we get on to anything else, I have a website, zackpradel.com, where you can buy stickers, you can submit your own vehicle, and you could read my behind-the-scenes blog to see what I'm filming before it comes out on the channel. But let's get back to that 3-motor electric drivetrain. Well, it's good for a little over 300 miles of range if you drive it normally, but you're not going to because this makes 1,000 horsepower. That's right, this truck makes 1,000 horsepower, which is actually insane, but the bigger number, the number that GMC loves to show, is the torque number. It's not 1,000, it's not 2,000, it's 11,500 foot-pounds of torque. Now, that is after it's gone through the axles, and of course, the gear ratios help amplify that number. Each motor makes between 350 and 400 foot-pounds of torque on its own, but once it hits the wheels, 11,500 pound-feet of torque, or so they say. But we will do an acceleration test to show that off, but I am going to switch the camera around because you got to see these cool graphics. So, this is called Watts to Freedom. Max, how do we do this?
All right. So all you got to do, traction control once, then hold it down.
Oh, your seat vibrates. This is super, super cool. And then I hit continue here?
Yeah. Hit continue.
The vehicle's going to lower. And then Watts to Freedom is basically, well, it is launch control. It's not basically what it is. It's just legitimately what it is. So it is lowering it down, so we have a lower center of gravity. And then once that's ready, brake harder, and then floor it. And here we go. Oh, God. Oh, my God. That is insane. A 9,000, almost 10,000 pound vehicle, 0 to 60 in 3 seconds. We almost clipped a bird. Like I said, paired to its single-speed automatic transmission, so it never shifts and it feels very much like an electric car. However, we do have 4-wheel drive, and we have a bunch of cool things that go with that. First of all, I do have front and rear locking differentials, so this is a real off-road truck. Older Hummers, I've done an H3 and an H3T. They both had front and rear locking differentials as well, so it was nice that GMC stuck with that from yesteryear. However, I'm sure you're wondering about it, this does have crab walk. So when you enable it, it does have rear steering all the time, but you can also turn on crab walk to help maneuver the vehicle in a very peculiar way. It feels very, very strange when you do it. It looks very, very strange. And this is sort of the party piece of the Hummer. There's tons of cool little gimmicks and gadgets in here that we'll get to. But the crab walk is the most visually stunning thing that the Hummer EV will do. And I think that that's super, super unique. So with that out of the way, let's talk about the interior. We have tons and tons to go through in here. Well, in front of me, I get a digital screen for my gauges. The first thing you'll notice about the interior of the Hummer EV is that everything is lunar and moon themed. I don't know why they chose this, but it's incredibly cool. And if you love astronomy, if you love the idea of going to the moon, this truck is absolutely perfect for you. And you can see that in the background of the gauge cluster, you get these sort of lunar rocks, which I love. I hope that one day Hummer will change these and maybe you could get different geological formations on your gauge cluster. I think that'd be kind of cool. Maybe a download pack or over-the-air update. In the center, I do get my speed and I get a bunch of information surrounding it. you can see for yourself, it's pretty neat. On the steering wheel, this is pretty typical GM. So on the left, I have my cruise control. This does have Super Cruise. And off to the right, I just have some simple selector dials. And around the back of the steering wheel, I do have my regenerative braking. So you can one pedal drive here in the Hummer EV if that's something you'd like to do, but it is very, very unnatural feeling if you're not used to driving electric cars. Off to the left, I have a giant climate control vent finished in this really cool, almost brass looking material. And then I get a bunch of extra buttons, power parking brake, lane keep assist, my Frunk release. We will talk about that in a second. I do also have a button to put all of the windows down simultaneously, in case you wanted to do that, and I do have my little charger outlet. Moving on to the door, I have 2 memory seat options as well as power mirrors, power windows. Again, this is very classic, very typical GM. You'll see this in today's Silverados, GMC Sierras, Escalades, Tahoes, the run-of-the-mill. Up above in the center, I do get the rear view camera mirror. Now, GM does this in a lot of their vehicles, like the Escalade, even the C8 Corvette. And so you can actually, instead of just having a regular mirror for the rear view mirror, you can actually have it show the video footage from behind you. This is fantastic on all bigger vehicles. I think this should be standard. However, while we're up here by the rear view mirror, this truck has what almost no other truck I've ever reviewed has, which is T-tops. GM is keeping T-tops alive here in 2022 with the Hummer EV. Now, I recently made a documentary series about the conception of T-tops and how they came about. And I said in the video that T-tops no longer exist. Well, I've never been happier to put my foot in my own mouth than now, because GM brought back the T-tops for the Hummer EV, and they are fabulous. Also, while we're up here by the mirror, you also get a switch to fully roll down the rear window, which is super, super exciting. Something that like Toyota 4Runners have done for a while, but it's cool to see it in a GM product. Moving into the center, we have this giant infotainment screen. Again, you get more lunar rock. So this does have Google integration, which is fantastic, as well as it does have wireless Apple CarPlay, and this is sort of a glimpse at what GM's infotainment system is going to look like from here on out, and I am a big, big fan. I love these little icons, and we'll talk more about graphics when we talk about drive modes, because it has the coolest graphics on planet Earth, or I guess the moon. But I really, really like all of this. I will show the backup cameras here. This is what they look like, and you can have a lot of customization. One really cool camera option you do get is that there's an underbody camera, and you can actually hit a button and spray it to clear it off of any dirt and mud. Another thing that I do like is that you do get options for like heated seats and ventilated seats as well. The physical buttons down below feel absolutely fantastic. They feel very high quality, and something I'm not used to feeling in a Hummer product is high quality buttons, but they really, really stepped up their game for Hummer coming back to the market. Then we do have some more buttons down below. Heated steering wheel, which is a nice option. I do have my locking differentials, hazard switch, traction control, parking sensors, and I do have automatic parking. However, I don't have any vehicles to test it with, and honestly, I'm not willing to test it with other vehicles, but I'm sure it works fine. Down below that, I have 2 more climate control vents, and I get a wireless charger, USB in. Interesting that it actually has a traditional USB as well as a USB-C, but I feel like everything's just moving towards USB-C, and this being a cutting-edge car, it's interesting that they still have the older style of USB. Then we come to the center console. We'll talk about the shifter and drive modes in a second, but let's get it out of the way. Let's do a big friggin' bottle test here in the Hummer EV, and I am happy to report that it does in fact pass the big friggin' bottle test. But now getting back off to the left, I do have my shifter. This is sort of parts bin GM-y. It definitely looks and feels a lot like the Silverado and GMC Sierra shifter, which isn't anything bad. It's just something I've seen before. But then we have this really cool dial. So we can initiate crab walk on this dial, which you saw earlier with the drivetrain. You can also raise and lower the Hummer EV, so this is on air suspension. Then off to the right, we get a button that will just show you GM's email address. I don't know why they did this. I don't know why this was important. I don't know why they couldn't have put this behind 8 different menus in the center screen, but at the touch of a button, you can know who to email, I guess, which will probably be outdated in 5 or 10 years, so it is what it is. Then we have our drive mode dial. So we have off-road, terrain, tow haul, normal, my mode, and then we're back to off-road. However, I will shut up and play some music because you have to just watch the animations that come up on the screen when you switch modes. They actually got a video game company to do these graphics, and it is the coolest thing I have ever seen in any modern car. Please enjoy. Then we do have a big center console, nothing too interesting in there, however, what I've come to expect out of full-size GM vehicles. And then we'll talk about the seats. The seats are memory, they are power, they are heated, they are ventilated. Pretty much anything you want out of a modern seat, you get here in the Hummer EV. I am very comfortable, and as you'll notice throughout the whole interior, all Hummer EVs at the current moment come with this sort of lunar colored interior, which I really, really love, and that's echoed with the seats as well. But speaking of seats, we do have back seats, so let's go do a back seat review. All right, so we're in the back of the Hummer EV. Tons and tons of space back here. My knees don't have a prayer of hitting the seat in front of me. I have plenty of shoulder room, plenty of headroom, and I actually get my own T-tops back here as well, which is really, really cool that we talked about a little bit earlier. I also get cup holders down here. I have my own temperature and fan speed controls. I have heated seat controls and 2 USBs, again, a traditional and a USB-C, and I get a nice little cubby down at the very bottom with an actual wall outlet. So if you want to charge your devices, you can absolutely do that here in the back of the EV. You can also open the center of the seats back here like you can in like a Silverado or something like that, which is super, super cool. Definitely love the added storage features. Other than that, nothing too crazy that I'm really seeing back here. Remember, this rear window completely goes down, which is very cool. And on a summer day, that would be very nice. T-tops out, rear window down. Come on, you can't beat that. Let's hop around back. We'll take a quick look at the trunk and cargo space, then we'll talk about the looks. All right, so we're on the back of the Hummer EV. We do have 2 buttons here on the key fob. You can lower it. It is a power tailgate, which is fantastic. Once we are back here, nothing too crazy besides the fact you do get a wall outlet for any power tools. That is really, really nice. And you get this really nice tonneau cover. It's actually like hard metal on top, which is fantastic. You also do get GMC's like 9-way tailgate, so you can open it up a bunch of different ways. If you're familiar with current model or the last couple of years worth of like Silverados and GMC Sierras, you'll know exactly how this works. There you go. You can fold that down, then you can fold this down, and you could use that as a step to get up into the Hummer EV. Although I will say the Hummer EV sits a lot higher than Silverado, so this step is still 2.5, 3 feet off the ground. So pretty crazy there, but you can fold that up just like you can any other truck. However, we are not done with storage space because we do have a Frunk. Because it is an EV, it actually has a Frunk, which is really, really cool. Now this is covers for the T-tops. Normally you would put the T-tops here. It is a pretty decent amount of space. It's not a ton of space. Obviously you can't use anything on the side here, but for groceries, for things you won't access all the time, this is absolutely awesome to have in an EV. And for me, it's a must for an EV. The Volkswagen ID4 does not have a Frunk, even though it very easily could have, and that was very depressing to me. So it's very nice that this gets it, and it is a power Frunk, so you just hit it and it'll open and close on its own. You see the lights kind of do the little dance, and there we go. Now we gotta talk about the looks, and all Hummer EVs come in this white color. Now they will be releasing an SUV later down the road, and that will actually come in like this cool foresty green. But right now, all the Hummer EVs are in this white color, and I think it is a really handsome car. It does look like a Hummer EV. Well, it looks like a Hummer, to say the least. It, of course, says Hummer in about size 1000 font on the front, but it genuinely still echoes those same design cues that they were using almost 2 decades ago, which is really, really cool. I think overall, this is a really good redesign and a really nice return to market for the Hummer name. And so let's get into my final thoughts. What do I think finally driving the Hummer EV? Well, I have to say I came into this review expecting this to be the most ridiculous car I drive this year. And to be honest, it's not far from it. With 1,000 horsepower and moon rocks everywhere, this has to be in the upper tier of strange cars. But I really expected to hate it, and I don't. I kind of understand it. I kind of get it. This thing is actually ridiculously cool, and if I had the change laying around, I think I'd get one. It feels so fresh and new, and that's hard to get from GM products. GM is really good about finding something that works and using it over and over again, and that's one of their strengths, really, is because you know you're going to get something that's going to work well. But they don't often feel at that cutting edge. They don't feel like the most modern, hip thing you can buy. Well, this absolutely does. This doesn't feel like a lot of other GMs. It doesn't feel like any other GMs. However, off of this platform, Chevy will be bringing out the electric Silverado, and I'm sure the electric Sierra will follow, as well as maybe we could see an Escalade on this platform. Maybe we can see other products shared with this car. And that's exciting to me. This is where GM is going. And if that's true, if this is the true trajectory of what's going to come out of GM in the next 10 years, I am very, very excited about it. If they have the same attention to detail, the same cool features, the same fun energy that I feel driving this in the rest of their products, I think the 2020s might go to GM. I really, truly believe that, because this thing is fun, it's cool, and it excites me about driving a truck, which I haven't been excited about in a couple of years. So this is just super, super cool. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Huge thank you to my friend Max for letting me take out the Hummer EV from Cadillac in Naperville. Go check it out. They have a couple on the lot right now. If you want to see this behemoth in person, and I highly recommend that you do, head on over to Cadillac of Naperville. Talk to Max. He will get you in the driver's seat of one of these bad boys, and this is something you definitely have to experience. All of his information is down in the description below. Please reach out. You won't regret it. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.